As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I had to go with Sean Lewis, demoted during the season, knocked down from the offensive coordinator job there at Colorado to head coaching job at San Diego State, which is a really good job. I think they won 10 games a couple years ago there, and I think he's a really good coach. He's done some really good things, and that's going to be a nice little opportunity for Sean.
I, you know, he made an interesting decision when he left the head coaching gig at Kent State, which is a really hard job. From everything I've ever been told about that job when it comes to resources and investment from the school, it's not easy. You don't have any advantages
Mm-hmm.
there, and he did a good job there, but he gambled. I would say it was a bit of a gamble. Took the offense coordinator position at Colorado. I believe he did that because he thought he could get a bigger, higher profile job by making that move. And I don't know if it worked perfectly, but it worked pretty damn well.
Still worked, yeah. And I don't know that I don't know that we've seen like a bigger roller coaster in a college football season than what that Colorado season was like. And he knew he was going to have to get out of there and be able to get out and take a job like San Diego State. I mean, it's not a Power Five. It's not, you know, it's not.
Remember, it almost was.
Well,
Remember that
I
whole
get,
ordeal? Gosh, that feels like forever ago.
yeah, yeah. They kind of rolled the dice on that whole situation, but uh, it's a good job that you can win, and it's in San Diego, man. How about that?
I,
Can you be at a better place?
you go from Kent State to San Diego. That is, from a weather perspective, that's a big upgrade. Now, you mentioned that good team they had a couple years ago. They won 12 games under Brady Hoke that year. The
Mm-hmm.
only reason I remember that is because I called their bowl game in the Frisco Bowl with T Row on the radio. And I mean, Brady Hoke was able to have a 12-win season. You go back, you think Rocky Long, he won 10 games multiple times, 11 games multiple times. It's a place that you're gonna get some kids in the state of California that now know Sean Lewis's name because he was at Colorado and are gonna go, you know what? That offense seems fun to play in. Now they're still gonna be in the Mountain West, but there's no reason when you look at who is in the Mountain West that San Diego State can't have one of, if not the most talented roster in that conference.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a good spot. He, I mean, this kind of ties into my loser, but he's going to be able to attract some really good quarterback play at San Diego State. Now, he may not be able to hold on to him at San Diego State, but I think he's going to be able to get some good names in recruiting at quarterback.
He's going to become a farm system for Power Five schools at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, but that's got to be. I thought the way I thought Dion did him dirty. I thought that was. I didn't think that was a professional thing. I don't think that was a professional way of doing things. And I don't know, it just feels like karma was on Sean Lewis's side. Like, hey man, yeah, that you got done wrong there. Hey, come live in San Diego and be the head coach here, which
Yeah.
they have recently, I think they've invested a ton in that. I want to say they opened up like a new stadium or something. I don't know a ton about the program, but it is, it's a job I think you could have a pretty high quality of life with. And now, of course, the taxes, but, yeah, I was happy that Sean Lewis, I don't know, kept failed upward. I don't know if that's the best way to put it because I felt like what happened this year, the demotion. I didn't think that And it didn't feel right to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a way to get some change going in the program and do it right, and to not create a toxic environment and have like a weird thing going on in the staff and around the program, around the players. Not handled very good, but he's going to be. I don't think anyone across the country, by the time it had turned into what show there at Colorado, very few people across the country were viewing Sean Lewis in a bad light before or after that decision by Dion, right? I mean,
right.
It didn't speak poorly of Sean Lewis. It spoke poorly of Dion and like the chaos going on there.
They have a recruiting issue at Colorado right now.
We're going to have a recruiting issue. They're going to have a portal issue. He's probably going to lose all. How many players you think are getting out of there?
I don't know, but it doesn't feel like the recruiting element felt like what was going to really help that program improve. And I don't know. They have like 8 commits in early signing days in less than a month.
And they've lost like a couple of their big recruits here in the last week or two, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm still interested in how things are going to go there under Dion, but seems like reality is set in a little bit for that program. And yeah, he's going to have to battle like hell to get that roster where it needs to be, but not going to have Sean Lewis to do it because he's going to be chilling in San Diego.
Tough.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I've got transfer portal madness. I mean, the story from Brock Heward about Cam Ward already has received at least $10 million plus offers. He's not even in the transfer portal, hasn't even opened yet. Technically that shouldn't even be happening. And he's getting $1 million offers. Like, I'm happy that he's getting $1 million offers, but it is going to be impossible for the majority of schools to hang on to their best players. It's a disaster for college football for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, you want your players, you want to develop a relationship with your fans and your players and watch these guys grow from freshmen into contributors as juniors and seniors. And there's a strong tie between the program and the players. And now some people want it. Some people are forced into this, that you're just going to get a bunch of one-year mercenaries, and it's going to be difficult to build culture. It's going to be more difficult to recruit high school kids. It's becoming impossible to develop players. You're a young player on a roster, a freshman, a sophomore, and instead of getting an opportunity to develop through an off season, well, it's just, we're going to bring in a senior that's played somewhere else, plug him into a position in front of you, and you're going to be stuck, not getting the coaching and not getting the development. I think it's bad for college football. We're not creating an environment to get the most out of all of the kids across the country. Development, I think, is going to take a nosedive.
I think that you're not, and we'll see. I've been talking to some people, and a lot of them are saying you're gonna see some guys put their name in the portal that are gonna shock you. And one of the main reasons is, why not take advantage of open free agency if you're a big time college football player right now?
Even if you don't want to leave.
Yeah. Just the threat. It's like, hey, coach, I'm gonna see what's out there. Now, there's a handful of programs where if you do that, they're gonna say, okay, see ya, we can replace you. We're not worried about it. Right? Georgia, Michigan, like those types of places. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what surprises are in store for some college football fan bases when it comes to guys that are going to put their name in there.
I don't think anyone's immune.
No, not at all. But it's a good reminder now that Oklahoma's got its offensive coordinator situation worked out. It's a reminder that until the rules change, the NIL operation for Oklahoma needs to continue to improve because it just might be the thing that is most important heading into the SEC, right? Building culture and all that, and that's huge. But when it comes to competing with Georgia and Bama, Ted, you know how it is. You got to have dudes. And there are dudes out there that fit your culture, but they're going to want some money. That's just college football right now. And you don't want a roster where it's just a bunch of guys that only care about the money. That's not what you want. But you want a roster of extremely talented players that are going to play on Sundays, that fit your culture, that are about the right stuff. That's what you want. But those guys are going to want money because college football, like that's the business aspect of college football now. So I continue to believe that now that it feels like the staff is stabilized in Norman, continuing to bolster the NIL operation and get it even more organized, I think that is huge for this program until the rules change, which who knows when that'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be wild. And I'm sure that we'll be both a victim and a beneficiary, but ultimately I just don't think it's a good thing for college football. You have to feel like there's got to be some stability brought into the system, and maybe that happens soon. I don't know, but maybe this year and the chaos that everyone is claiming is about to happen, maybe that's the final push needed to get something legitimate and some defined rules in place that you can hold people accountable to. And you're never going to make everyone happy, but hopefully you can cut the players in on what's going on financially and just create some stability for programs to be able to develop young players and recruit young players.
I hear you. All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
elevate your tailgate with Chapel Supply and Equipment in Oklahoma City. Chapel Supply and Equipment has generators and inverters on hand that'll give you all the power you need so you can take your tailgate to the next level. They've also got top-of-the-line heaters to help keep you warm during those cold tailgates later in the season. They're Oklahoma-owned and operated. Elevate your tailgate by calling 405-495-1722 or visit chapelsupply.com. That's CHAPPELL supply.com.
And First Fidelity Bank knows how to keep fans like you happy. With more than 50 awards in the last 5 years, including Forbes Best in State Bank, the Oklahoma's Community Choice Awards, and the Journal Records Reader Rankings, it's clear that they are Oklahoma's #1 pick for quality banking. And you can find that level of outstanding service in everything FFB offers. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with Arkansas football. God bless you, Sam Pittman. Bringing back Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator. My timeline was strictly pictures of him in that neck brace after the motorcycle accident. It was so great. I love it. College football, it's so entertaining, man. And remember, Petrino was doing a great job. before he got fired for that whole thing. He
I
was
know it.
21-5 as the head coach at Arkansas. This makes Arkansas more entertaining. It makes college football more entertaining. I'm all about it. Let's go.
Do you show up to the first press conference on a Harley
With a neck brace.
with a neck brace?
And then you rip it off like a pro wrestler.
Oh, that's good.
It's fantastic. But my winner of the week, and it kind of connects to what you said about the portal, Ted. Will Howard.
Mm.
Will Howard has entered the transfer portal, guy that has started a ton of games for Kansas State over the last 4 years, led them to a Big 12 title last season, has gotten a lot of criticism from that fan base at times, has had a very up and down, especially early in his career, has had a very up and down career there at Kansas State. But he's my winner of the week because this guy, he's a guy we suggested should move to tight end 2 years ago. He's leaving K-State as the all-time leader in touchdown passes in school history, and now he is going to have a bidding war for his services on his hands.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and experience. Kind of the maturity, the dual threat, everything that he brings. A lot of teams out there are going to love to have something like that, even if it is just a quick rental to maybe bridge a gap year or two to get to a recruit or something else. But yeah, he's going to draw some attention for sure.
He's got a lot of intangibles that teams are going to like. Great size. He's got a good arm, high character guy, good leader, which also makes me think he could end up just declaring for the draft. I know he hasn't ruled that out. I think he would be a day 3 pick if he decided to come out, but why not make a boatload of money in college football while you can and have one more year of college? Why not? And I think the portal's not open yet technically, but he's already put his graphic out. Everyone knows. I think it's a smart move by him to get the word out early so that he gets the attention before more quarterbacks decide to hop in the portal. I think it's smart getting, it's like he's the first one to free agency. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep. Get up on everyone's draft board, so to speak, I guess, whenever you're trying to figure out who you're going to ID out there. But there could be some interesting names hopping the transfer portal at quarterback. I mean, there used to be hey, you might as well go ahead and go to the NFL. You're not going to improve your draft stock. Like, you're not going to be, an early round guy. There's reason to stay in college football these days. It's hard as a late round pick, especially at quarterback, to make rosters. Maybe you can get on the practice squad, but the practice squad don't pay like college football pays these days.
No, you're right. So I think he'll end up being the starting quarterback. I saw that Washington's interested, Louisville, Mizzou, Kentucky, Auburn. I mean, this guy is going to be a starting quarterback in the SEC next season, making like $500,000. Sounds pretty sweet to me.
Yeah. It's wild to think 5 or 6 years ago that this is where we'd be. We'd think there's no way, but wow.
Love it. You got to capitalism, baby. Now, my loser.
I'm glad it delayed this long because we may not have been able to hang on or pay for the quarterbacks that we had come through here.
That's an interesting point. For my loser of the week, thought about going with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lost a close one Tuesday night to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are very good this year, especially on the defensive end of the floor. But they lose 106-103. Would have loved to see them get the win because Anthony Edwards had the hurt. I think it was a hip. Didn't play the whole fourth quarter. Would have loved to see the Thunder finish the job there. And I did not expect Troy Brown Jr. to be the guy to hit clutch buckets for the T-Wolves, but so is life in the National Basketball Association. I really wanted him to win that game. I don't like the Timberwolves for some reason. Maybe it's Rudy Gobert. Maybe it's Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not sure why. I really don't like that team. It's strange.
I didn't see the game. It was weird. I saw Chet Holmgren trending on Twitter, and I went through and checked it out, and it was like equal parts. Chet Holmgren looks awesome, and Rudy Gobert totally locking down Chet Holmgren. So I couldn't really get a good, accurate description of what went on.
I would not say Rudy Gobert locking down Chet Holmgren is accurate, but there's no doubt there were some struggles with Gobert's length at time. Chet did not shoot the ball well. Yeah, Rudy gave him a tough time. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. Dang it.
Great defender, though. What's going to happen?
Yeah. But my loser of the week, the Carolina Panthers, my goodness. Now, they clearly have some issues on the field. Their loss to the Titans last weekend moved them to 1-10 on the season. Bryce Young, guy doesn't have a lot of playmakers around him, doesn't exactly have a tremendous offensive line protecting him. But all things considered, he has not looked good. He has not played well. And as a result of all of that, they have fired Frank Reich after 11 games as the head football coach there in Carolina. But Ted, this is the question I would like to pose to you. We know they've got issues on the field. Do the Carolina Panthers have an owner problem on their hands?
Kind of seems that way.
David Tepper, he bought the team in 2018. This is the third coach he's fired midseason.
Yeah.
They've had 6. If you include interims, they've had 6 coaches since he purchased the team.
Volatility is not a good thing whenever you're trying to develop a football team, program, franchise, and you really want stability. If you're going to invest a bunch of money in a young quarterback as a draft pick, you need to be able to have stability, surround them with resources, surround them with a good system that they can continue to learn and grow in. Not every guy is going to be a home run the day he steps foot on the facility grounds. But, you know, I didn't agree with the pick whenever they took it. Thought that there was going to be some serious issues there with Bryce Young, but you got to have some stability at the top. I mean, you got to create a good environment for a player to grow in. And right now, Carolina is not a good environment for a player to grow.
They should call Jim Harbaugh immediately. I don't know if he would take it, but they should call him immediately because, and I don't know, I could see Harbaugh. Harbaugh is a guy that has absolute belief in himself, okay? He wouldn't care that the last 3 guys have been fired. He wouldn't care that Frank Reich's 11 games is the shortest head coaching tenure in the NFL in 45 years. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, okay, yeah, I can do it. How much money are you going to pay me? Like, I think that would be a good hire, but there's some things that are not helping the Panthers either. CJ Stroud is playing so well. He's so good. And
looks really good.
And reminder, the Bears have the Panthers pick, which looks like it's going to be number 1 overall. It's going to be Caleb Williams or Drake May, probably. And if those guys go on to have awesome careers, or whoever they take with the pick goes on to have an awesome career, that's going to feel even worse for Carolina. But one exciting thing, Chris Tabor, interim head coach. He was the special teams coordinator when I was in Cleveland. Everyone loved that guy. So at least they'll be, and I'm rooting for him. Maybe the vibes will improve because Tabor was a man of the people when I was in a locker room with him.
Right. It's always best when the special teams coordinator takes over as the interim head coach. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it.